is to actually turn my hips and just not trying to move forward, just try and turn almost on the spot. You can see how this handle starts to move around the corner and move a little bit more forward. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing 3 things that I really believe make up consistent, solid ball striking. So let's get into it. So for us to have solid ball striking, there are a few things that we really need to have in place. And certainly for me, I'm talking about an iron shot here. Now, when I look at what a compressed iron shot looks like, I would see players with their hips anywhere between 4 to 7 inches further forward than they started. I would see their handle anywhere between kind of 10 to 20 degrees more forward than it started. And I'd see their hips around 20 to 30 degrees more open than they started. So if I just put myself in that position, I should manage to find myself somewhat a pretty good impact. So if I push my hips roughly 5, 6, 7 inches forward, and I open my hips 20, 30 degrees, and then I push my handle a little bit forward, that really makes me feel like I'm going to hit down on that ball, compress it, and have maximum stability through the hitting area. Now, those 3 things are important components to hitting that shot. So I'll start with shift. As we move into the backswing, there will be an element of shift off the ball. That is completely normal for the hips to move a little bit back and forward. That is the way I'm gaining momentum to move. And when I get to about shaft parallel, I'll probably feel there's about 60 or 70% of my weight on my right foot. But it's important from here that I get my body moving back into the middle, ready to push forward. So I move off the ball slightly, and then when I get to the top of my swing, I want to see my hips start drifting back into the middle and a little bit of weight starting to move into this left knee. And then as I start working into the downswing, I should continuously be pushing more pressure through this left knee, moving my pelvis more forward than it started, all the way into impact. And again, to probably break that down into an average of numbers, as I go to the top, I get back to about 50-50, 60, 70, 80, 90% on my lead side for an iron shot would be acceptable. And as I move my pelvis more forward, it's so much more easy to get the handle moving with me. It's much more difficult to move my hips forward and my handle back. That doesn't quite look right. So actually allowing my hips and handle to move forward together is really going to give me a decent impact. What also helps move that handle more forward is a little bit of rotation out the hips. So if I just hold this golf club here, and I was to actually turn my hips and just not trying to move forward, just try and turn almost on the spot, you can see how this handle starts to move around the corner and move a little bit more forward. So a combination of, and the order of, moving forward and around moves the handle forward without me having to work so hard. The second thing that I would really look at when trying to have a decent impact position is the angle in my right wrist. What we'll also see at impact is my right wrist bent back an amount. It's important if I'm looking for some shaft lean that I don't release this angle too soon and start letting that club head overtake the handle, almost bowing out that right wrist. So for me, I'll generally start by hitting some little shots to really train that right wrist movement. So if I was to hit some shots, I'd start by hitting some little one-handers, trying to get the handle leading, trying to maintain that right wrist and staying in posture. Now, this is a really good drill because the club weighs something. This feels quite heavy in my hand. So it's quite obvious if that club was to flip on me. That's quite obvious. I felt my body stop moving and the club bottomed out quite early. So in these practice swings, I'd certainly be feeling like my right hand was bent back, certainly feeling like I'm rotating through the ball as I'm holding on to that angle. And that's another thing that's going to help me or promote better contact. So then what I'd start doing is hitting some small shots from here, loading that right wrist, moving the hips forward and turning and trying to find that impact. And again, starting off small by loading the right wrist back on itself so I can feel the load in that right wrist, forward and around, and then trying to just find some small shots like so. And then what I'd do is I would build up from there. So again, hinging back on the wrist, forward and open. Let's see if I can build into anything else. Now that ball come out really hot and on quite a nice punchy flight. And then I would try and combine the three of those moves together to really find a crispy strike. And that felt absolutely lovely. The only thing I would really say about when we start pushing the handle more forward, the hips more forward and opening, is it is quite common for the club face to play a little bit open. So that's just where it's really appropriate to make sure that you've got the right grip or the right wrist angles coming down to make sure that when you do this stuff, so pushing handle forward, that I'm able to have a square face. Now making sure that this left arm or left wrist twists more to the left for me is my way of doing it. But other guys just like to strengthen their grip and make sure that's in a good place too. So I hope this short video makes a lot of sense into a couple of the ingredients that make up solid impact. And if you like the video, please give it the thumbs up. And if you could subscribe, it'd mean a lot. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.